sa mga giliw naming mag-aaral sa ikasampung baitang. Ako si Binibining Jenny Taberao, guro sa ikasampung baitang mula sa San Miguel Rural Development High School. Ikinagagal ako na makasama kayo sa ating programang Panghimpapawid sa loob ng 30 minutong talakayan sa radyo. Sana ay nasa maayos kayong kalagayan at handa sa ating bagong aralin. Mangyari po lamang na maupo sa isang tahimik at komportabling lugar upang hindi maistorbo habang nakikinig sa talakayan. Sa puntong ito, inaasahan kong hawak na ninyo ang inyong ballpen at papel kasama ang inyong self-learning module o learning activity sheet para sa ika-4 na markahan sa Araling Panlipunan 10, Module 2, Legal at Lumawak na Pananaw ng Pagkamamamayan. Bago tayo magsimula, paalalahanan ko muna kayo na maaaring hindi magkapareho ang inyong mapakikinggan at ang hawak ninyong module, sapagkat ang bawat paaralan ay maaaring may iba't ibang module na ipinapamahagi sa mga estudyante. Gayunpaman, ang mga konseptong ituturo sa araling ito ay magkakapareho lamang, kaya naman huwag mabahala. Ngayong araw, pag-aaral natin ang lumawak na pananaw ng pagkamamamayan at ang katangian at kahalagahan ng aktibong pagkamamamayan. Handa na ba kayo? Tara na't makialam, makibahagi, at linangin ang inyong kaalaman sa ating panlipunang talakayan. Ang mahalaga, kayo ay matututo at magkakaroon ng bagong kaalaman sa talakayan natin ngayon. Handa na ba kayo? Sa paksang pag-aaralan natin ngayong araw, mayroon tayong ilang katanungan. Una, ano ang legal at lumawak na pananaw ng pagkamamamayan? Ikalawa, ano ang konseptong mamamayan? Aktibong pagkamamamayan. Ikatlo, ano ang mga katangian ng aktibong mamamayan? At ikaapat, bakit mahalaga ang aktibong pagkamamamayan? Ang konsepto ng pagkamamamayan sa legal na pananaw ay ang kalagayan o katayuan ng isang tao bilang miyembro ng isang pamayanan o estado. Samantalang sa lumawak na pananaw ng pagkamamamayan, tinitingnan ngayon ang pagkamamamayan hindi lamang bilang isang katayuan sa lipunan na isinasaad ng estado. Bagkus, may tuturong ito bilang pagbubuklod sa mga tao para sa ikabubuti ng kanilang lipunan. Ayon sa lumawak na pananaw ng pagkamamamayan, igigiit ng isang mamamayan ang kanyang karapatan para sa ikabubuti ng bayan. Ayon sa Warburton Council Encyclopedia at sa aklat sa Araling Panlipunan 10, mamamayan, katutubo o citizen, ang tawag sa taong kabilang sa isang samahan o ang mga taong naninirahan sa isang bansa. Pagkamamamayan o citizenship naman, ang kalagayan o katayuan ng isang tao bilang miyembro ng isang pamayanan o estado at pagiging kasapi nito sa isang bansa o samahang pampubliko. Kaakibat ng mga karapatang ito, ang pagganap sa mga tungkulin at responsibilidad ng pagiging kasapi ng isang partikular na lipunan. Ang mga mamamayan bilang bahagi ng lipunan ay may malaking bahaging ginagampanan sa mga gawain sa estado. Ang mga gawaing ito ay may kinalaman sa mga prosesong panlipunan, ekonomiko, mga institusyon, batas, karapatan at responsibilidad. Ipinapahiwatig na kaakibat ng ating mga karapatang tinatamasa ay ang mga tungkulin at responsibilidad bilang kasapi ng bansa. Sino nga ba ang mga mamamayang Pilipino? Kailan sila matatawag na mamamayan ng isang bansa? Hindi lahat ng naninirahan sa Pilipinas ay mamamayang Pilipino. Isinasaad ng saligang batas kung sino-sino lamang ang maituturing na mamamayan ng bansa. Ang mga ito lamang ang pinaglalaanan ng mga natatanging karapatan na itinadhana ng saligang batas. Kaugnay nito, sila ang inaasahang magsasagawa ng mga natatangi ring tungkulin at pananagutan sa bansa. Isinasaad sa Article 4 ng Saligang Batas kung sino ang mga mamamayan ng Pilipinas. Ikaw ay mamamayang Pilipino kung mamamayan ka ng Pilipinas ng pagtibayin ang Saligang Batas 1987 noong Pebrero 2, 1987. Ang isang tao ay maaring maging mamamayan batay sa kapanganakan o umiiral na batas ng Estado. Ang aktibong pagkamamamayan ay iyong nag-aambag sa kapakanan ng pamayanan sa pamamagitan ng sibikong pakikilahok. Mga mag-aaral sa ika-10 baitang, ikaw ba o kayo ba ay aktibong mamamayan ng ating bansa? Ano ang mga ginagawa ninyo na masasabi nating gawain o ginagawa ng isang aktibong mamamayan ng Pilipinas? May ipaparinig ako sa inyong awitin na pinamagatang, "Ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino," mula kay Noel Cabangon. Makinig ng mabuti. Isulat kung maaari sa inyong kwaderno ang mga katangian na babanggitin niya sa kanta at sagutin ang mga sumusunod na tanong. Una, ano ang mga katangian ng isang mabuting Pilipino ayon sa awitin? Ikalawa, taglay mo ba ang ilan sa mga katangiang nabanggit sa awitin? Ikatlo, masasabi mo bang ang mga ito ay katangian ng isang aktibong pagkamamamayan? So yan po ang 3 tanong na ibibigay sa nasasagutan ninyo pagkatapos ng gawain. So patutugtugin ang kanta, makinig ng mabuti, enjoy and internalize the music.
Ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino, minamahal ko ang bayan ko, tinutupad ko ang aking mga tungkulin, sinusunod ko ang kanyang mga lituntunin. Tumatawid ako sa tamang tawiran, sumasakay ako sa tamang sakayan, pumipila at di nakikipag-unahan, at di ako kasiga-siga sa lansangan. Nagbababa at nagsasakay ako sa tamang sakayan, di nakahambalang parang walang pakialam. Pinagbibigyan kong mga tumatawid sa kalsada, humihinto ako pag ang ilaw ay pula. Pagkat ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino, minamahal ko ang bayan ko, tinutupad ko ang aking mga tungkulin, sinusunod ko ang kanyang mga lituntunin. Di ako nangungutong o nagbibigay ng lagay, tiket lamang ang tinatanggap kong binibigay. Ako ay nakatayo doon mismo sa kanto at di nagtatago sa ilalim ng puno. Di ako nagkakalat ng basura sa lansangan, di bumubuga ng usok ang aking sasakyan. Inaayos kong mga kalat sa basurahan, inalagaan kong aking kapaligiran. Pagkat ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino, minamahal ko ang bayan ko, tinutupad ko ang aking mga tungkulin, sinusunod ko ang kanyang mga lituntunin. Lagi akong nakikinig sa aking mga magulang, kaya't pag-aaral ay aking pinagbubutihan. Di ako gumagamit ng bawal na gamot, o kaya'y tumatambay at sa eskwela'y di pumapasok. Pinagtatanggol ko ang aking karangalan, pagkat ito lamang ang tangi kong kayamanan. Di ko binebenta ang ating kinabukasan, ang boto ko'y aking pinahahalagahan. Pagkat ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino, minamahal ko ang bayan ko. Tinutupad ko ang aking mga tungkulin, sinusunod ko ang kanyang mga lituntunin. Ako'y isang tapat at totoong lingkod ng bayan, pabor o lagay ay di ko pinapayagan. Tapat ang serbisyo ko sa mamamayan, di ko binubulsa ang pera ng bayan. Pinagtatanggol ko ang mamamayang Pilipino, mga karapatan nila'y kinikilala ko. Ginagalang ko ang aking kapwa-tao, pinaglalaban kong dangal ng bayan ko. Pagkat ako'y isang mabuting Pilipino, minamahal ko ang bayan ko. Tinutupad ko ang aking
Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, kadyang sa pagiging produktibo.
Ang inyong napakinggan ay mula sa awitin ni Noel Cabangon. Nagustuhan niyo ba ang awitin? Naunawaan ba ninyo ang kanta ni Noel Cabangon? Magaling! Ibig sabihin, nakinig kayong mabuti. Ngayon, ating sagutin ang mga tanong na aking ibinigay bago ko patugtugin ang awitin. Sa ating unang tanong, ano ang mga katangian ng isang mabuting Pilipino? Tama. Isa sa katangian ng mabuting Pilipino ang pagmamahal sa bayan at ang pagtupad sa mga tungkulin at alituntunin nito. Ano pa? Mahusay. Pagtawid sa tamang tawiran, pagsakay sa tamang sakayan, pagbaba sa tamang babaan, at pagpila at hindi pakikipag-unahan. Sa ating ikalawang tanong, taglay mo ba bilang isang mamamayang Pilipino ang ilan sa mga katangiang nabanggit sa awitin? Nakakatuwa naman kung ikaw ay hindi nagkakalat ng basura, inaalagaan ang kapaligiran, pinagbubutihan ang pag-aaral, at nakikinig at sumusunod sa iyong mga magulang. Dahil dyan, you deserve an applause. Para sa ating ikatlong tanong, masasabi mo ba na ang mga nabanggit na awitin ay katangiang taglay ng isang aktibong mamamayan? Tama. Ang mga nabanggit sa awitin ay mga ambag mo bilang isang mamamayan na nagmamahal at nagmamalasakit sa bayan. Ika nga, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Mga simple o maliit na hakbang o gawain, subalit kung gagawin ng lahat, ay magiging malaking hakbang tungo sa pag-unlad ng ating bayan. Batay sa legal na pananaw ng pagkamamamayan, maaari nating matukoy ang mga katangian ng isang aktibong mamamayan. Narito ang karagdagan sa katangian ng mga aktibong mamamayan. Ang isang aktibong mamamayan ay may kamulatan sa kanyang mga karapatan at tungkulin bilang kasapi ng isang bansa. Ang isang aktibong mamamayan ay may kamalayang pangkasaysayan upang maging batayan ng kanyang nasyonalismo at patriotismo, dahilan kung bakit niya maipagmamalaki ang pagiging Filipino. Taglay din ng aktibong mamamayan ang pakikipagkapwa-tao, pagmamalasakit at pagtulong sa kapwa na itinuturing na ekstensyon ng sarili at itinuturing sa buhay. Panghuli, ang pagkakaroon ng katangian ng voluntarismo o kusang loob. Halimbawa na lamang ngayong pandemya, ang kusang pagsusuot ng face mask, physical o social distancing, pananatili sa bahay kung hindi naman essential ang lakad, kahit walang naguutos o nagbabantay, ay mabuting katangian ng aktibong mamamayang Pilipino. Sa simpleng pakikibahaging ito, may malaking epekto sa pagpapababa ng kaso ng pandemya o ang tuluyang pagsugpo dito. Mahalaga rin ang pakikibahagi sa mga gawain na ang layunin ay tumulong sa nangangailangan. Masasabi mo bang ikaw ay aktibong mamamayan? Naway oo. Kung hindi pa, ayos lang yan. Hindi pa huli ang lahat upang aktibo kang makibahagi sa mga gawain ng ating lipunan. Mahalagang tungkulin natin ito bilang mamamayan ng isang bansa. Maaari mo itong umpisahan sa bahay ninyo, sa paaralan at sa ating pamayanan. Every good citizen adds to the strength of a nation. Ayon kay Gordon B. Hinckley. Gaano kahalaga ang aktibong pagkamamamayan? Makatutulong ang mga katangiang ito sa pagkamit ng isang maunlad, mapayapa at nagkakaisang lipunan. Marahil sa ngayon ay marami tayong nakikitang pagkukulang sa ating pamahalaan. Ngunit mula sa pagkilos ng isang pribadong sektor at ilang mga individual, maaari tayong maging solusyon sa malaking issue sa ating lipunan. Ayon nga kay John F. Kennedy, ang dating presidente ng Amerika, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Maaring hindi natin namamalayan na mula sa ating individual na pagkilos, maaaring magsimula ang pagbabago. Wika nga ni Mahatma Gandhi ng India, you must be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change. Bawal ang pasaway. Sa halip, magitayong mabuting halimbawa at tumulong sa pag-abot ng minimiting pag-unlad ng ating bansa. Tingnan nga natin kung nakinig kayong mabuti sa ating aralin. Bibigyan ko kayo ng ilang katanungan bilang pagtataya sa araling inyong napakinggan. Isulat ninyo ang fact kung tama ang pahayag na babanggitin ko ayon sa katangian at kahalagahan ng aktibong pagkamamayan at isulat naman ang bluff kung mali ang pahayag. Handa na ba? Una, pumunta si Gloribel sa SSS Virac upang maghulog ng buwan ng kontribusyon ng kanyang mga magulang. Naisip niyang pumunta sa Katanduanes State University upang magtanong ng mga kakailanganin sa darating na pasukan. Dumaan siya sa bagong gawang overpass kung saan ito ay ginawa upang maging daanan ng mga taong tatawid para maiwasan ang aksidente sa daan. Tama ba ang ginawa ni Gloribel? Fact or bluff? Magaling! Ang sagot ay fact. Ikalawa, nakaramdam ng gutom si Jennifer kaya naisipan niyang bumili ng pagkain sa kantin. Dahil walang makitang basurahan malapit sa kanya, tinapon niya ang basura sa bintana ng kantin. Nagpapakita ba ng katangian ng mabuting mamamayan ang ginawa ni Jennifer? Fact or bluff? Tama. Ang sagot ay bluff. Ikatlo, mahalaga ang pagiging aktibo at pagiging kabahagi ng mamamayan sa mga programang ipinatutupad ng pamahalaan upang makamit ang kaunlaran. Is it a fact or a bluff? Mahusay. Ang sagot ay fact. Ikaapat, palaging suot ni Emma Ray ang kanyang face mask tuwing lumalabas ng bahay. Sinisiguro din niya na may dala siyang alkohol at umiiwas sa matataong lugar upang hindi idapuan ng COVID. Nagpapakita ba ng katangian ng aktibong pagkamamamayan sa Emma Ray? Ito ba ay fact or bluff? Tama. Ang sagot ay fact. Ikalima, at ang panghuling tanong, ang kritikal na pag-iisip at matalinong pagpapasya ay makatutulong sa kapakanan ng ating bansa. Fact or bluff? Magaling. Ang sagot ay fact. Nakuha ba lahat ang tamang sagot? Ang galing naman ng mga grade 10. Alam ko na madali lang at kayang-kaya ninyong sagutan lahat ng tama. Para sa ating huling gawain, ibibigay ko ito bilang enrichment activity. Ipaliwanag ang kahalagahan ng aktibong pagkamamamayan. Ang inyong sagot ay maaaring ipasa sa inyong mga guro sa araling panlipunan. Diyan nagtatapos ang ating talakayan at sana ay marami kayong natutunan sa ating aralin at naway isabuhay ang mga ito. Sa muli, ito si Binibining Jenny Tabirao, ang inyong teacher on air. Thank you, keep safe, and God bless everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jenny Tabirao from San Miguel Rural Development High School. Sa naging talakayan sa Araling Panlipunan 10, kontemporaryong issue ay katangian at kahalagahan ng aktibong pagkamamayan. Sana maraming natutunan at talagang may natutunan ang lahat ng mga grade 10 students sa ating binibining napakaganda, Ma'am Jenny T. Tabirao. After listening to SMRDHS grade 10 students, also to teaching and non-teaching personnel, especially sa aming school principal 2, Sir Juan Torreja. And syempre sa akin din pong assistant school principal 2, Ma'am Eileen Tabilog, sa lahat ng staff ng Mabato High School Annex. Baka may gusto ka, Ma'am, batiin, shout out. Pang may time pa naman tayo.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Marge. Happy listening to all the staff of SDO Catanduanes, especially to Ma'am Gina Pantino, to Ma'am Arline Borja, to our superintendent, to Ate Lisa Bernardo, and also to the teaching and non-teaching staff of SMRDHS, especially to my friends. Alam nyo na yun kung sino kayo. Thank you so much for having me here.
Once again, yan po si Binibining Jenny T. Tabirao. Maraming salamat, Ma'am. We'll have a break and maya-maya ng konti, i-introduce na natin ang another radio teacher sa science. Tama ba? Magbabalik po tayo makalipas ang ilang paalala.
Do you know that your hands may be COVID-19 carriers? Stop the spread of COVID-19 and keep yourself and your family safe from this dreaded virus. Make it a habit to always wash or sanitize your hands. This small act can save you big time. A simple reminder from Schools Division Office of Catanduanes and this station. Tambak-tambak ang gawain ngunit walang natatapos sa takdang oras? Narito ang ilang mga tips na maaaring makatulong sa iyo. Una, itala ang mga bagay na kailangang gawin. Pangalawa, itakda ang mga prioridad o dapat unahin. Pangatlo, planuhin ang oras para sa mga kinakailangang isagawa. Sunod, sundin ang ginawang schedule at iwasan ang hindi kaugnay na gawain. At ang panghuli, dagdagan ang pagsisipag at pagsusumikap. Ang oras kapag lumipas ay di na maaaring balikan. Kaya naman mahalagang maging matalino sa paggamit nito. Isang paalala mula sa SDO Catanduanes at ng himpilang ito.
Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, kadyam sa pagiging produktibo.
back in our program, Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto ka-jam sa pagiging produktibo. Nakatutok pa rin po kayo sa 96.7 DWFB FM, ang radyong paborito, Radyo Periodiko. It's a beautiful day mga kabady sa pagkatuto. It's another day of engaging learning ride in science. Are you ready? Just sit back and be ready for we are about to begin. This is Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, ka-jam sa pagiging produktibo. I am your host for today, Teacher Marjorie T. Vargas from San Miguel Rural Development High School, Mabato High School Annex. Gases are all around us. It is a part of our daily life as there are practical uses that apply some principles governing gas properties. I bet you are already thinking about its real-life application. Are you getting curious? Do you want to know more about it? Well, to explain more about gases, I will now introduce your radio teacher for today, Sir Joshua T. Gordon from Baras Rural Development High School. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, grade 10 students. I am Sir Joshua T. Gordon from Baras Rural Development High School, and I will be your radio teacher in Science 10 for today. Are you excited for today's lesson? That's great. Before we start, I want to be prepared because today we are going to do some activities while exploring the behavior of gases. Isn't it exciting to learn more about today's lesson? This time, let us have your Module 1 in Quarter 4, which is about behavior of gases. Stay tuned and listen attentively for better understanding. But first, let me remind you that some details in my lesson today may not exactly reflect the self-learning module or the SLM that you are currently using. However, do not worry. The important thing is for you to understand the lesson and to know more about it. My dear students, are you familiar with a syringe? How about a medicine dropper? How about a bicycle pump? What do you think is the science behind those? Have you ever wondered how your respiratory system inhale and exhale air work? Can you describe the change in volume and the pressure of your lungs when you are breathing? For today's lesson, you will be able to first investigate the relationship between the volume and the pressure at constant temperature of a gas, and the relationship between the volume and the temperature at constant pressure. The second, explain this relationship using kinetic molecular theory, and I would like you to please follow the directions carefully in every activity. Are you ready to begin with our lesson? That sounds great. First, I would like you to request everyone to get a ball pen and a paper for your 5-item true or false pre-test. Please listen carefully as I read the questions while you write the answer on your paper. This is to test your prior knowledge. Answer true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is incorrect. Are you ready? Let us begin. For question number 1, pressure is the direct result of collisions between gas particles and the wall of their container. True or false? You're right. The answer is true. Let's have number 2. According to Boyle's law, the volume of the gas is inversely proportional to its pressure at constant temperature. True or false? Very good. The answer is true. Number 3, Charles' law states that the volume of the gas is inversely proportional to its pressure at constant temperature. True or false? Correct. The answer is false. For number 4, gases can be expanded with the presence of high temperature. True or false? Excellent. The answer is true. For question number 5, the relationship between the pressure and the volume are the two variables compared in the Charles law. True or false? Yes, you're right. The answer is false. Did you get a perfect score? If yes, very good. If no, that's okay. You will know and learn better as we go along the topic. Just listen carefully, and in our lesson, you're going to know more about concepts as I unfold the mystery of science behind our lesson. Before we proceed to our main discussion, let us have a short review of your previous lessons in science. In your previous module, you have learned that gas is one of the phases of matter. It has no definite shape and size. That's why it can be easily compressed. It has mass, volume, temperature, pressure are some properties of a gas that can affect one another since they are related to each other. This time, we are going to dig further in the ideas of our first topic for today, which is the Boyle's law. Did you know that overloading a vehicle builds a higher pressure to the tire and may cause tire bursting? With changing physical conditions, the behavior of gaseous particles also change from their normal behavior. The behavior of gas can be explained by various laws known as the gas laws. Way back in 16th century, Robert Boyle, an Irish chemist, was first to find out that there is a relationship between the volume and the pressure of the gases at constant temperature. He noticed that as the pressure increases, the volume decreases. Then finally concluded that the volume of a fixed amount of gas is inversely proportional to its pressure at constant temperature. My dear learners, are you familiar on how to use a syringe and a medicine dropper? How about the mechanism of your respiratory system in breathing? Good. This time, let's investigate the relationship of volume and pressure by having a breathing exercise. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Did your lungs increase in size or decrease? Very good observation. Our lungs work just like how syringe and medicine dropper work. The process of inhalation occurs due to the increase in the lungs volume as it expands where the diaphragm contracts downward and the chest wall expands, which results to a decrease in the lung pressure in comparison to the pressure outside the body. Thus, the air rushes inside while in exhalation process, lungs decrease its size or volume, resulting in increased pressure inside. Thus, the air rushes out of the lungs. As the space gets smaller, the particles collides more with the walls of the lungs. Thus, the pressure exerted by the gas on the wall increases. That's why it is advisable to wear a loose clothing when you are having an exercise for you to easily breathe rather than using a tight clothes. Remember, Boyle's law shows inverse relationship between pressure and the volume at constant temperature and amount of gas. Meaning to say, as the volume of the gas decreases, the pressure of the gas increases and vice versa. If we plot a graph between the volume and the pressure, we will get a downward curve showing an inverse relationship between volume and the pressure. Mathematically, Boyle's law can be stated that the pressure as pressure P is equal to 1 over volume, meaning pressure is inversely proportional to the volume or the pressure, and the volume is equal to K, meaning pressure multiplied by the volume equals some K constant. Now, comparing some substance under two different sets of conditions, the law is usefully expressed as pressure 1 or initial pressure multiplied by volume 1 or initial volume equals pressure 2 or final pressure multiplied by volume 2 or final volume. If you think an application of Boyle's law, let's go back to the syringe which is commonly used in vaccination. A working syringe can also be explained using Boyle's law. When the plunger of the syringe is pulled out and the volume inside the barrel increases, resulting in a decrease in pressure inside the barrel. This means that once the pressure inside the syringe is lower than the pressure outside the syringe, air near the needle will flow into the syringe. Do you have questions about Boyle's law? I hope that you understand everything that we have discussed under this law. Now, let's talk about relationship between temperature and the volume of the gas. It was Jacques Charles, a French physicist, who studied the effect of temperature on the volume of a gas at constant pressure. He noticed that the volume of a given mass of a gas varies directly with the absolute temperature of the gas when pressure is kept constant. The absolute temperature measured with the Kelvin constant, the Kelvin scale must be used because 0 on the Kelvin scale corresponds to a complete stoppage of molecular motion. Imagine two balloons are filled with air. Balloon A, say for instance, is a red balloon, and balloon B is a blue balloon. If we put a red balloon in a high temperature, it appears bigger in size, or the volume expands due to the presence of heat. The molecules of gas move faster in random direction, and it pushes the wall of the balloon. Frequently, that results in expansion. While exposing the blue balloon in low temperature, it will shrink or become smaller. This happens because the air inside the balloon moves slower and collides lesser from each other. According to kinetic theory of gas, an increase in temperature will increase the average kinetic energy of the molecule. As the particles move faster, they will likely to hit the walls of the container more often than will it results into expansion. Mathematically, Charles' law can be expressed as volume, or V, is directly proportional to temperature at constant pressure, or P, wherein V is the volume and T is the temperature, expressed in Kelvin scale. Take note that the temperature in Celsius must be converted in Kelvin scale because it is the basic unit in measuring temperature in the international standards. Now, removing the proportionality symbol and using the equality sign, the equation will be as follows. K is equal to Vt, thus in a proportion to the quotient of the variables is constant. If you're going to consider the initial and final condition, you will arrive in the following equation, wherein initial volume, or V1, over initial temperature, or T1, is equal to final volume, or V2, over final temperature, or T2. That is the Charles' law equation. Are you still listening, my dear students? This time, let's have a real-life examples of Charles' law. In order for a hot air balloon or a sky lantern to float, heat is added to the air inside the balloon. Adding heat causes the molecules to move further away from each other. We can say that the air inside expands, and when this happens, the total density of the balloon and the air inside decreases. The density of the balloon decreases to be less dense than the outside air. Therefore, the balloon rises. Conversely, the volume of the gas will shrink if its temperature decreases. I think you have really learned a lot from today's lesson. Can you name some real-life examples aside from my examples given to you? Give more examples. I am glad to have a better understanding of our lesson today. Since we are done investigating the behavior of gases, let us recall what you have learned. You have learned that Boyle's law shows inverse relationship between volume and the pressure wherein one variable increases and the other decreases, resulting to a downward curve graph. Provided that the temperature is constant, in Charles' law, however, you were able to investigate the effects of temperature on the volume that shows directly proportional between two variables wherein temperature increases, the volume also increases, and vice versa, provided that the pressure is held constant as well as we use the Kelvin scale as the standard unit. Standard unit for temperature. This time, are you now ready for a short quiz? Be ready with your pen and paper. All you have to do is to write the answer or the term being asked in each item. Listen attentively. Let's begin. Question number 1. In Charles' law, the volume and the temperature have a blank proportionality. Question number 2. In Boyle's law, which two variables remain constant? Question number 3. Which gas law is involved when balloon pops after it is sat on? Question number 4. As volume of a confined gas decreases and the constant temperature, the pressure exerted by the gas is blank. Question number 5. Which law pertains to the following formula? Volume 1 over temperature 1 is equal to volume 2 over temperature 2. We are done with the 5-item test or quiz. Therefore, we shall proceed with the checking of your answer. So let's have question number 1. In Charles' law, the volume and the temperature has a direct proportionality. So the answer is direct. For question number 2, the Boyle's law, which is two variables remain constant, temperature and the amount of gas. For number 3, which gas law is involved when balloon pops after it is sat on? You got it right. The answer is Boyle's law. Question number 4. As volume of a confined gas decreases at constant temperature, the pressure exerted by the gas increases. For the last number, which is which law pertains to the following formula? Volume 1 over temperature 1 is equal to volume 2 over temperature 2. The answer is Charles' law. It has been a moment filled with new learnings. I am grateful to be with you. I hope you have learned a lot for today's lesson on gas loss. Do not forget to finish the other activities and assessment phases in your self-learning module. With the guidance of your respected teacher, congratulations for a job well done. That's it for our science lesson today. My dear grade 10 students, this is once again Teacher Joshua T. Gordon from Baras Rural Development High School. Until our next session, stay safe, everybody. Thank you for listening.
And that's it. That was Sir Joshua Gordon from Baras Rural Development High School on Boyle's and Charles Law again. Boyle's Law and Charles gas loss. That was really an informative discussion, sir. And in your discussion, we learned from Boyle's Law that pressure and volume is inversely proportional to each other. While in Charles' law, it shows a direct relationship between temperature and volume. And really, science can truly amaze us many ways. Stay safe, everyone. And sir, baka may gusto kang i-shout out? May time pa naman tayo.
Shout out syempre from sa Baras, especially sa faculty namin. At the same time, siguro yung mga friends. And I have also a prepared video for this in my account for Boyle's Law and Charles' Law. Yes.
So, pwede nilang ma-view.
Yes, pwede
mga
lang ma-view yung estudyante. And to learn more about the topic or the concept.
Oh, itong topic na to ay for grade 10 students.
Yes, for grade 10 students po, first topic in the fourth quarter.
Okay, sana at marami tayong natutunan ngayong araw, Boyle's and Charles' Law. Thank you so much, Sir Joshua. See you next time. Let's take a short break. We will be back after this few commercial and we will introduce another radio teacher.
Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, kadyam sa pagiging produktibo.
Do you know that your hands may be COVID-19 carriers? Stop the spread of COVID-19 and keep yourself and your family safe from this dreaded virus. Make it a habit to always wash or sanitize your hands. This small act can save you big time. A simple reminder from Schools Division Office of Catanduanes and this station. Tambak-tambak ang gawain ngunit walang natatapos sa takdang oras? Narito ang ilang mga tips na maaaring makatulong sa'yo. Una, itala ang mga bagay na kailangang gawin. Pangalawa, itakda ang mga prioridad o dapat unahin. Pangatlo, planuhin ang oras para sa mga kinakailangang isagawa. Sunod, sundin ang ginawang schedule at iwasan ang hindi kaugnay na gawain. At ang panghuli, dagdagan ang pagsisipag at pagsusumikap. Ang oras kapag lumipas ay di na maaaring balikan. Kaya naman mahalagang maging matalino sa paggamit nito. Isang paalala mula sa SDO Catanduanes at ng himpilang ito.
Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, kadyam sa pagiging produktibo.
We're back in our program, Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla, ang iyong kabady sa pagkatuto, kadyam sa pagiging produktibo. Philippine Standard Time, we've got exactly 13 minutes after hitting the hour of 11. And you are with us. Nakatune in pa rin kayo sa 96.7 DWFB-FM. Numero 1 sa puso kan mga Bicolano worldwide. Radyo Periodiko, ang radyong paborito. Another radio teacher. Good morning, grade 10 learners. Sa grade 10 naman to. This is your school on the air for Mathematics 10. Ahoy! Math. We are happy that you are with us once again as we discover another topic in mathematics. We will learn how to calculate and interpret a specified measure of position. Since this is a very broad topic, we will be focusing first about finding the, how do we read this? Quartile of ungrouped data using Mendenhall. So meron tayong mga technical terms dito. May mga jargons and Sinsich method or linear interpolation. Please be seated comfortably and stay away from any distractions so that you can focus on our lesson for today. For this lesson, please have with you a grade 10 learning activity sheets number 2.1. Fourth quarter na po tayo for weeks 2 to 3. Do not forget your pen and paper for your note taking. And you may also go to the restroom first so that you will not be disturbed while the lesson is ongoing. Are you ready? Let's start. You were introduced to the measures of position during the first lesson for fourth quarter in Math 10. Can you still remember the different measures of position? How do they differ from one another? Great! As we are focusing on quartiles for this lesson, you can tell me how many equal parts do data are divided when we speak of quartiles. Very good! I am glad you can still recall what you have learned. Now, we will calculate and interpret a specified measure position using Mendenhall and Sinsich method and linear interpolation. Are you ready? I will now introduce you to your radio teacher for this period, the beautiful and humble, Mrs. Maria Salvacion Preciosa Manlangit from Calatagan High School. Magandang morning,
Good morning, Marge. Good day, grade 10 learners. I am your radio teacher in Mathematics 10, Mrs. Maria Salvacion A. Manlangit from Calatagan High School. In your first learning activity sheet, you have learned the different measures of position and their differences. Please keep these concepts in your mind so that you can follow the succeeding lessons about measures of position for ungrouped data. Our lesson for today is calculating and interpreting a specified measure of position, which is quartiles for ungrouped data. Furthermore, we will be using Mendenhall and Sinsich method and linear interpolation. To start with, I will give you a 5-item multiple choice pretest regarding our lesson for today. Kindly grab your pen and paper for your answers. Do not worry, this will just check your prior knowledge about our lesson for today. I will repeat the questions and options twice, so please listen carefully. Are you ready? Let's start. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. The median score is also the blank. A. 75th percentile. B. Second quartile. C. Third decile. or D, 7th decile? Again, for number 1, the median score is also the blank. A, 75th percentile. B, 2nd quartile. C, 3rd decile. D, 7th decile. The correct answer is letter B. Number 2. In the set of scores 14, 17, 10, 22, 19, 24, 8, 12, and 19, the median score is blank. A, 17, B, 16, C, 15, or D, 13. I repeat, for number 2, in the set of scores 14, 17, 10, 22, 19, 24, 8, 12, and 19, the median score is blank. A, 17, B, 16, C, 15, or D, 13. Yes, the answer is A. Number 3. In a 70-item test, Melody got a score of 50, which is the 3rd quartile. This means that A, she got the highest score. B, her score is higher than 25% of her classmates. C, she surpassed 75% of her classmates. Or D, 75% of the class did not pass the test. Again, for number 3, in a 70-item test, Melody got a score of 50, which is the 3rd quartile. This means that A, she got the highest score. B, her score is higher than 25% of her classmates. C, she surpassed 75% of her classmates. Or D, 75% of the class did not pass the test. Correct. The answer is C. Number 4. The first quartile of the ages 250 fourth-year students is 16 years old. Which of the following statements is true? A. Most of the students are below 16 years old. B. 75% of the students are 16 years old and above. C. 25% of the students are 16 years old. Or D. 150 students are younger than 16 years old. Number 4. The first quartile of the ages 250 fourth-year students is 16 years old. Which of the following statements is true? A. Most of the students are below 16 years old. B. 75% of the students are 16 years old and above. C. 25% of the students are 16 years old. Or letter D. 150 students are younger than 16 years old. You got it right. The answer is C. Number 5. In a 100-item test, the passing mark is the 3rd quartile. What does this imply? A. The students should answer at least 75 items correctly to pass the test. B. The students should answer at least 50 items correctly to pass the test. C. The students should answer at most 75 items correctly to pass the test. D. The student should answer at most 50 items correctly to pass the test. I repeat, for number 5, in a 100-item test, the passing mark is the third quartile. What does this imply? A. The students should answer at least 75 items correctly to pass the test. B. The students should answer at least 50 items correctly to pass the test. C. The students should answer at most 75 items correctly to pass the test. Or D. The students should answer at most 50 items correctly to pass the test. Very good. The answer is A. What is the result? Did you get it all right? If yes, well done. If not, do not worry. I am here to guide you to further understand our lesson for today. All I ask is for you to stay tuned up to the end of my lesson. Let us have a little review about quartiles. Again, how many equal parts do quartile divide data? Correct. There are 4 equal parts, where 25% of the distribution are below the first quartile, 50% are below the second quartile, and 75% are below the third quartile. Therefore, quartile 1 is called the lower quartile, and quartile 3 is the upper quartile. Since quartile 2 is less than quartile 3 but greater than quartile 1, where quartile 2 is the median. Interquartile range is the difference between quartile 3 and quartile 1. In this lesson, we will be using Mendenhall and Zinzich method first. To apply their method on data set with n elements, first calculate lower quartile, or L, equals position of quartile 1, or Q sub 1, equals 1/4 times n plus 1, and round to the nearest integer. If L falls halfway between two integers, round up. The nth element is the lower quartile value, or Q sub 1. Next, calculate for upper quartile, or U. Position of quartile 3, or Q sub 3, equals 3/4 times n plus 1, and round to the nearest integer. If U falls halfway between two integers, round down. The youth element is the upper quartile, or Q sub 3. Take note that the numerator is the same with the number of quartiles being calculated. So if we calculate quartile 1, or Q sub 1, we have 1/4 times n plus 1. For quartile 2, or Q sub 2, we will use 2/4 times n plus 1, and for quartile 3, or Q sub 3, 3/4 times n plus 1. Did you get it? Good. Let us try some examples. Please take a look at your learning activity sheet on page 2, example 1. A group of students obtained the following scores in their statistics quiz: 3, 7, 7, 1, 16, 21, 27, 31, 30. Using the Mendenhall and Zinzich method, find the first quartile, or Q sub 1, the second quartile, or Q sub 2, the third quartile, or Q sub 3, and the interquartile range. To solve for the Q1, or Q sub 1, we first arrange the scores in ascending order. Therefore, we have 1, 3, 7, 7, 16, 21, 27, 30, 31. Next, we let n equals 9 since this is the number of scores. Then we apply the formula position of quartile 1 or q sub 1 equals 1/4 times n plus 1. We substitute the value of n, thus position of q sub 1 equals 1/4 times 9 plus 1. We simplify the equation, we add 9 and 1, then we multiply it to 1/4, which is equal to 2.5. Since it falls halfway between two integers, we round it up. Therefore, position of q sub 1 is 3. The first quartile value is the third score, so q sub 1 equals 7. What does this mean? This means that 25% of the students have a score less than or equal to 7. Are you following? That's good to hear. Let's try solving for q sub 2. To find the second quartile, we can try to solve this in two ways. Since quartile 2 is the same as the median, we can use the median formula. We first arrange the scores in ascending order. So we have 1, 3, 7, 7, 16, 21, 27, 30, 31. Next, to identify the middle score. Since there are 9 scores, we can count 4 from left to right. We begin from 1 up to 7 as the fourth score. Next, from right to left, beginning from 31 as the first score up to 21 as the fourth score. So, what's the median? You're right. The median is 16, which is also the second quartile. Therefore, we can say that 50% of the students have a score less than or equal to 16. The second way of solving is using Mendenhall and Sinsich method. Again, we arrange the scores in ascending order and letting n be equal to 9, which is the number of scores. As we are solving for the quartile 2, we use position of q sub 2 equals 2/4 times n plus 1. We again substitute 9 to n and simplify. We have position of q sub 2 equals 2/4 times 10 equals 20 over 4, which is equal to 5. The second quartile is the fifth score. Can you identify which is the fifth score? Very good. It is 16. What can you observe? Yes. Using both methods, we arrived at the same answer because quartile 2 is the same as the median. We now proceed to solving quartile 3. What is the first step? Correct. We arrange the scores in ascending order. What is the value of n? That's right. Where do we get the value of n? Correct. The value of n is 9 from the number of scores. Next, we apply the formula position of q sub 3 equals 3/4 times n plus 1. We substitute the value of n and simplify. We have position of q sub 3 equals 3/4 times 9 plus 1, which is equal to position of q sub 3 equals 3/4 times 10 equals 30 over 4, which is equal to 7.5. Take note that the answer falls halfway between two integers, so we round it down. Therefore, the position of q sub 3 is 7. The third quartile value is the 7th score, so q sub 3 equals 27. What does this say? Excellent! This means that 75% of the students have a score less than or equal to 27. I am glad that you can follow this lesson. Next, we find the interquartile range. To solve for the interquartile range, we first identify the score for quartile 1 and quartile 3, which we have solved earlier. Can you tell me what are these scores? Very good. Q sub 1 equals 7 and Q sub 3 equals 27. Remember that interquartile range is the difference between Q sub 3 and Q sub 1. So 27 minus 7 equals 20. The interquartile range is 20. Next, we will continue solving linear interpolation on page 6 of your LAS Example 3. The problem is similar to the one we have discussed earlier. We have located the position of the score for quartile 1. Can you recall the position of quartile 1? Please take a look at our solution for the position of quartile 1. What is the exact position? That's right. The position of Q sub 1 is 2.5. Since the result is a decimal number, interpolation is needed. We follow the steps of interpolation. Step 1, since the position of Q sub 1 equals 2.5, we need to subtract the second score from the third score because 2.5 is between the second and third score. 7 minus 3 equals 4. For step 2, multiply the result by the decimal part. So 4 times 0.5 equals 2. Step 3, add the result in step 2, which is 2 to the second or smaller number. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So the value of the first quartile or Q sub 1 is 5. Therefore, 25% of the students have a score less than or equal to 5. Let us look back to our solution for the second quartile. What is the position of quartile 2? Yes, Q sub 2 equals 5. Since the result of the position is an integer, we do not need to use interpolation. So we proceed to quartile 3. What is the position of Q sub 3? Since our answer is 7.5, a decimal, we need to perform interpolation. We first subtract the 7th score from the 8th score since 7.5 lies between these scores. So 30 minus 27 equals 3. Next, we multiply the result by the decimal part, which is 0.5. 3 times 0.5 equals 1.5. Lastly, we add the result to the 7th or smaller number. Thus, 27 plus 1.5 equals 28.5. The value of the third quartile is 28.5. What do you observe from our solutions using Mendenhall and Sinsich compared to linear interpolation? Correct. The results are different. Please take note that these methods sometimes, but not always, produce the same results. Are you still with me? Great! Let me check what you have learned. Try this test that I will let you answer for 10 minutes. Find the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the interquartile range given the scores of 9 students in their mathematics activity using A. Mendenhall and Sinsich method and B. Linear interpolation. The scores are 18, 15, 20, 28, 23, 33, 35, 40, 42. Again, find the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the interquartile range given the scores of 9 students in their mathematics activity using Mendenhall and Sinsich method and linear interpolation. The scores are 18, 15, 20, 28, 23, 33, 35, 40, 42. Your 10 minutes starts now. Are you finished? Terrific! Let's check your answers. For Mendenhall and Sinsich method, Q sub 1 is equal to 20, Q sub 2 equals 28, Q sub 3 equals 35, and the interquartile range is equal to 15. For linear interpolation, we have quartile 1 is equal to 19, quartile 2 is equal to 28, quartile 3 is equal to 37.5, and interquartile range, which is equal to 18.5. Did you get it all correct? Fantastic! I knew you can do it. This ends our lesson for today, and I hope you enjoyed learning calculating quartiles using Mendenhall and Sinsich method and linear interpolation. If you need any clarifications about this topic, feel free to contact your mathematics teacher so that they can help you with your concerns. This is your radio teacher for this hour, Mrs. Maria Salvacion A. Manlangit from Kalatsagan High School saying, "Happy learning and good day." So I'm saying hi to my co-teachers and non-teaching staff of Kalatagan High School and Sir Fidel Vehim, plus my students and all the parents of students from Kalatagan High School.
Thank you so much, Pre. And we are done with Mathematics 10 radio-based instruction for this episode with our radio teacher. Napakagaling! Siya yung excellent Mrs. Maria Salvacion A. Manlangit from Kalatagan High School, and we have learned methods in solving for the position of quartiles. Ako talaga, Pre, natuto ako. May tatlong words akong natutunan this morning. The quartiles, Mendenhall, and Sinsich method. Diba? So this concludes our lesson for Mathematics 10 today. We are happy that you stay tuned up to the end of the session. We look forward to being with you once again for the next schedule of our school on the air. Let me recapitulate our topic for this morning. Diniscuss po ni Ma'am Jenny Tabirao from San Miguel Rural Development High School ang katangian at kahalagahan ng aktibong pagkamamayan. Tinakal din po ni Sir Joshua Gordon ang behavior of gases, Boyle's Law and Charles' Law. Sir Joshua is from Baras Rural Development High School. And si Ma'am Maria Salvacion A. Manlangit, Teacher 3 from Kalatagan High School, discussed also the calculating and interpreting a specified measures of position, which is quartile using Mendenhall and Sinsich method or the linear interpolation. Maraming salamat sa lahat po ng mga tumutok for almost 2 hours. But yeah, 2 hours. Mapapakinggan po ang Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla every Tuesday and Thursday. At ang regular host po dito, si Sir Axel James Thomas and Ma'am Lilibeth Nievavasol, both from Catanduanes National High School. Unfortunately, hindi sila available ngayon, kaya tayo muna po. Napapakinggan din po ang Deped Radyo Eskwela sa Isla sa other radio stations. And nagpapasalamat po kami syempre sa lahat po ng managers. Sir Ferdo Brizo, and also sa syempre sa pag-operate ng mga ganyan-ganyan sa FB live kay Papa Chen. Heartthrob pala si Papa Chen. And also syempre kay Uncle Sam. Nandiyan si Uncle Sam kanina sa labas. Yun naman pala, alam Papa Chen, listener ako niyan, talagang totoo naman, talagang heartthrob pala yan. Malapit nang mag-manager. Batiin ko lahat ng mga nakatutok dyan sa personnel section. Binabati ko si Miss Marichelle Llave, Ate Miel. Hi, thank you so much for being with us today. And also, syempre sa aming RBI Coordinator Division, Education Program Supervisor in English, Dr. Gina B. Pantino. Ay also sa aming SDS, Ma'am Susan Escoliano. And binabati ko po lahat ng mga tumutok, syempre, mga parents, and sa lahat ng mga grade 10 students. And sa lahat po ng mga nandyan sa Verac Public Market, sa lahat ng, basta. Salamat sa mga nag-view sa aming Facebook Live. Batiin ko ang team leader namin, Sir Axel, salamat kay Ma'am Beth Vasol, sa aming team leader sa Senior High School, Ma'am Rod Tapas. Thank you so much, and anong oras na ba? 47 minutes after 11, so meron pang konting minutes. Tama ba? Yan, nagpapa-shoutout po ang Bato Rural Development High School, San Miguel Rural Development High School, dyan po sa Kalatagan, Catanduanes National High School, and sa lahat po ng mga junior high school teachers. Yan, ini-invite ko rin po kayong mag-visit sa Catanduanes Tourism, 'di ba? Maraming mga pangyayari ngayon kasi we're celebrating Abaca Festival. And congratulations sa management. Pinabati ko po si Ma'am Ellen Rose Conche. I am your host for today. My name is Teacher Marjorie T. Mahu Vargas from SMRDHS Mabato High School Annex. Thank you so much for being with us today. And palaging tumutok sa radyo periodiko ang radyong paborito. Paalam na po ako. Abangan po ang naka-sked next week, Tuesday and Thursday. I-visit lang po ang aming FB page, Deped, Radyo Eskwela sa Isla. Batiin ko ang admin namin, Ma'am Marion and Ma'am Sheena May. Bye-bye everyone! Panatiling nakatutok sa inyong pinakapaboritong istasyon, 96.7 DWFB FM. Number 1 in the hearts of Bicolanos worldwide, radyo periodiko ang radyong paborito. Papa Chen, thank you so much!